It's Tuesday, and that means it's No Filter Tuesdays. Welcome, everyone, to the new episode of No Filter Today. Now, today's guest, she's an actress, she's a producer, she's a mother, she's a philanthropist, she's an author, and yesterday, she became a fashion model. She's an incredible human being because above all of those things, she's a survivor. And I've had the pleasure of knowing this legend for a few decades. And she's as real as they come. I always learn something from her. She's just puts it in a way of understanding. She's a rare gem. Besides being at one point in Hollywood, one of the most, or the most, I should say, highest paid actress of all time, back then. And set the bar for how women in Hollywood should be continuously paid. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Demi Moore. Oh my Demi, first of all, where are we?
We are in Paris at the La Résidence.
And what did we do yesterday?
Well, first of all, yesterday we walked the Fendi Spring-Summer 2021 collection. Couture, sorry.
First ever couture. You opened up, you opened something historical.
I can't, first of all, truly, it didn't hit me till afterwards that it really was like a teenage fantasy fulfilled. Like, I took a moment where I thought, oh my God, I literally just walked a runway show with some of the biggest models ever. Like, for me, I literally felt like a little kid.
But, I mean, I don't know where to start because we know each other for a long time. But when your Vanity Fair came out, the whole world was like, huh? It was just like, wow. Do you remember that? I mean, Demi.
I remember it very well.
That was
and
Ruma,
I had,
right?
No,
Ruma.
Scout.
It was Scout.
Who happens to be here with me on this historic trip. You know what I realize in retrospect, which we do tend to like understand obviously more as time goes by, is that I understand what impact it had on the world, on women, on our permission to embrace ourselves in a pregnant state. But it was a moment that I was taking to really be in myself and be expressing myself and not trying to be anything other than me, which hasn't.
And you've always said that. You said that then.
But even though I think I understood it, I don't know if I've always been able to fully live it. Mm-hmm. So but I do realize that was a moment of a recognition that I do think helped move me down the path of being able to step in to owning who I am.
Oh, Demi, you are so owning who you are. Well, first of all, like.
But yesterday was amazing. But tell me, I am curious for you. It's been, I mean, it was very powerful to have I opened, you closed, and the most grand of all of the pieces. But it was a special show.
It was a very special show. There was an audience.
That's true.
But can I tell you something? Even though there was no audience, it felt like there was an audience to me. There was no difference to me.
Which I don't know the difference, except because I've only ever been at a fashion show sitting.
I think also because of the way the set was built, everyone having their own individual boxes, you wouldn't have seen the audience anyway.
And it felt special for me because it felt less that it was entirely just about the clothes, but it was more about the full story. The full story, absolutely. Felt very magical and moving.
I feel like I went into a fantasy.
Yeah, that it was extremely memorable, that I think it will be a lasting show.
It's definitely, you know, it's at a level, it's kept there to keep things, people have to pull up to the bumper. How I look at it. No, it was special to be in an inauguration of Fendi, having done Fendi for so many decades, and then they do couture and be Kim Jones that we love and adore,
Yes.
and Sylvia Fendi, who I've known for decades, and it was really, and have her daughters also be in it.
It was extraordinary.
And then my wagons,
yes.
Kate and Christy, and then the anointed baby wagon, Lila Moss,
Incredible.
Jefferson, and I mean Lila Moss Hack, and it was just like, it was special. And you opened, I mean, it was just, it was, and Adua with her sister Casawa, Christy with her nephew.
Yes.
Very special.
Incredible. Next time it'll be my broom.
And then behind the scenes, you know, there's so many people behind the scenes that known for so many years that also Kim Jones, the wonderful human being that he is someone that gives to his friends and people that he's worked with or known or respected throughout his whole career coming up. And that's what you see with him. And I love that about him.
I think the fact that he had such a diverse group of women and men.
And a beautiful Farida.
Oh my God. And it just really speaks to who he is and what he sees needing to be reflected.
Wait till you go to Africa with Kim. It's unreal. I mean, I've been to Vietnam with Kim. It's like you hear a bird whistling in the tree in the pitch dark. He can tell you exactly what bird that is. He is an incredible human.
I'm ready to plan the trip.
He's more African than anything. He loves Africa.
But he is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I want to talk to you, there's so many things I want to talk to you about. As you know, this show is called No Filter.
No filter.
So one of the things I saw during your quarantine is what an incredible time you are with your girls, Ruma, Scout, Tallulah, and Bruce, your ex.
Yes.
And loving to see how you were all dressing up and like really just like having fun.
There's been a lot of challenges and a lot of tragedy with this pandemic, but I also think there's been a lot of gifts and blessings. And I personally feel like I was really grateful for things slowing down and the time that we had. It worked out that Bruce came and spent time with us, and then his current wife and their small daughters joined a little bit later when the kids were finished with school. And but that time we hadn't had as a family,
in a long time,
with just our immediate, and I it was really a blessing. And I think that it's also brought forward an incredible opportunity for going inward and raising our own consciousness, I think, as individuals, but also I feel globally. It's everything that's come forward has allowed us to reevaluate what's important and what needs attention that has been overlooked and neglected. So,
I know.
But
I don't know her well, but I know Emma.
It was amazing. My daughters love their little sisters,
Oh,
and
wonderful.
for me, our family, regardless of what the shape of it is,
It's family.
it's important to keep together, and for the little ones to feel comfortable with me and to know me so they also know their sisters better. It was really sweet, and we did have some silly times.
Beautiful.
For sure.
In every video I say that we do on No Filter, let's start from the beginning. And I was trying to remember, where was our beginning? Where did we meet first? I want to say, I remember our time in Paris, absolutely, because I got to babysit Ruma, and I
swear it was Tallulah.
It was Ruma.
How is it rumor? Anyway.
I took Ruma to my Dior shows, fittings with John Galliano. I took Ruma, it was Ruma I had.
I swear it was Tallulah, but you do have by far the best memory of anybody.
What does Ruma say? We need to ask Ruma.
We can ask Ruma, but
Yeah.
I think it was Tallulah.
It was Tallulah I
Because
had?
wasn't it Galliano's collection that was the corseted, gorgeous with the bed?
Yes.
It was Tallulah.
In the outside in the garden.
Yes.
It was Tallulah?
Yeah.
I had Tallulah. Okay.
She
so
was like 3.5.
Okay, yeah, I was taking over. I took her to my Chanel fitting.
Oh no, she was. Believe me, this kid is still the same. Now she's like ready for all of it. Now still the same.
Really?
No, because you know what I was telling Christy is that because she was talking about going and seeing Alaia the house, going to Azzedine, and I've only been there one time, and that was with you.
Oh my God.
That you took me there. That was the only time I ever had a chance to meet him.
No way.
Yes, that
was 1997.
and that trip was like so impactful.
Because you know, our summer in Paris was summer of 1997.
Yes.
Now,
But you said to me,
I met you.
Yes, I couldn't believe this. As soon as you said it.
Okay, well, I definitely met you before, and it was Las Vegas. Indecent Proposal, when did you shoot that?
So Indecent Proposal.
And let's talk about the cast of Indecent Proposal, by the way. This is just Demi Moore did not do DB movies. And do you know what with DB cast? Indecent Proposal, what was your leading? Who were your leading?
Robert Redford and Woody Harrelson. Directed by Adrian Lyne. And yes, Vegas. But you said you came with Bruce's friend.
I came
Carmine.
with Bruce's friend Carmine, Bruce. Rumor was born, so
It was Rumor and Scout only.
so Scout was a baby.
Yes.
Bruce was holding her on the plane. There was myself, Carmine, Bruce, and Nanny, and Bruce.
Because I was
Scout.
already there.
And you were already there, and we were going to meet you. It was a weekend, and we were going to watch a fight.
We did. Which you said,
And
did we ever figure out who the other person was?
The
Holyfield.
fight, I felt like it was Holyfield and someone. It definitely wasn't Mike, but it was Holyfield and someone else. It was a big fight. And we the Mirage Hotel.
That's exactly right. I'm telling you, your memory is
and you had a
crazy.
You had a bid at the Mirage Hotel. And we were not really into gambling. We after the fight, it wasn't a long fight. We went to the casino, and I've never liked gambling. It's not my thing. And I remember this man just, because you never see cash. This man just kept saying, "Yes, I want more blackjack, more blackjack." And I remember his wife just took her handbag and was like, wallop around the face. And I was like, "Well, that'll teach you. She wants to go home. She's done."
Bruce was always the entertainment on the gambling floor. Because he played with such.
Well, I learned a lot from Bruce that night because I understood that, because I never really was in casinos, and I understood that they pump oxygen through the air filters. You never see money,
You don't know what time of day it
is.
It's always
they're
7
constantly
o'clock.
like there for you, to the hospitable beyond 125,000% belief. And so I thought that night was when it really kind of sunk in, and I started to understand how it all works a little bit.
I aspire to have your memory. But as to where I grew up, I was never in less than 2 schools a year. So I moved, all over California, Pennsylvania, back to New Mexico, then like northern part, Seattle, like around Seattle briefly, like 3 months. And then my family, as I was a teenager, settled in California. And then
that must have been so unsettling. And how can you cross to learn, make friends if you kept moving?
But you know what it is? It's something that it's just what you know. It's what I knew, and I didn't know what I didn't have or what was really challenging or what I would end up needing to work harder as an adult to give myself, which is I didn't know how to nurture friendships because it was always, don't get too attached because you're going to be gone.
That's very hard.
But what it did give me is adaptability, flexibility.
Because you can adapt. You have no fear to travel.
And figure out what the situation is.
And set up home wherever you want.
Exactly. I'm sure you feel that,
I know that
as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think as an adult, I realized that I didn't want to be new anymore. I didn't want to be the new person. I didn't want to have to feel that. And it has
its pluses and it has its minuses.
Indeed.
Absolutely agree. In the book,
yes,
because you wrote an incredible book.
Thank you.
A memoir. You made it sound like that you and your mother were not at odds with each other, but came to find a way to work it out towards
the end. Yeah.
And can I ask? I mean,
Anything. Go ahead.
what was that like?
There's so much to this, like this topic. At the time, I made choices based on things that occurred when I was young with my mother. After I had children, to disconnect from her physically. And at the same time, I felt like I was able to start moving towards a path of accepting her for who she was, not for who I wanted her to be. And did find some healing. I didn't trust her because she had done things that were...
Did she really do that to you for your virginity?
I think that situation is one of such manipulation by the man who took advantage of me. Mm-hmm. But he planted a question. He left me with a seed that I know now started me on a path of running, of literally running as fast as I could to prove that I wasn't that.
Absolutely.
And I think what I truly believe is that I don't think my mother was conscious of doing something like that. But what I also know is that she didn't protect me. And so... you look at that as... I felt orphaned is really what it is. And I didn't ever have a sense of a safety net or someone to count on. Mm. But as far as the longer journey of this in finding healing and forgiveness and acceptance, what I realized as I went through the book is that how can I expect my children to have compassion for me if I couldn't find compassion for my mother? And in healing generationally, it was essential. And I really could start to see that my mother came into this world like we all do, as an innocent soul, wanting to feel loved, wanting to feel...
With her pain.
With the belonging, that she mattered. And I really, I know that. And I know that she didn't set out to be a mother who was...
so you're saying she did the best she could.
I know she did.
In the circumstances
I know she did. And with the tools.
Listen, you all have to get Demi's book, really. If you haven't read it, it is really, really honest.
Yeah.
And
it's why I titled
it
Inside Out.
Yeah.
Incredibly healing for me, but in sharing it, I realized that I also am not alone, that there are a lot of others who really are seeking that kind of healing and that...
and did they come forward to you, obviously?
I had a lot of people saying that it really helped them to open up.
They resonated with so many different parts of your book because there's so much in there, so much. It's therapeutic, I'm sure, and you must have felt... How did you feel when you finished?
It's like it was a very interesting process, but I'm sure in a different way when you did your Taschen book and you were going through your life through photographs and having to reconnect to so many moments that in the image may have been one thing, but your experience may have been totally different.
It's true.
And the moments that were painful, the moments that were joyous, the memorable impact, all of that came up. And some things that I hadn't connected with, but in this case, you're pouring it all into an object and then you're letting it go. And that was it.
Demi Moore was a huge doll collector. And I need to ask you, do you still collect dolls?
I do. But differently. That is the question. That I am still working on.
Are they spiritual dolls now, or are they actually physical dolls?
So some are called contemporary art dolls. Mm-hmm. Some, most that I love are one of a kind. Some are straight up toys. Like I gave Kim Jones a doll of the child from Mandalorian, which brings me equal amount of joy, as do these very expensive one of a kind.
Yeah.
Not as much. I mean, it's I've gone through waves of it, but figuring out what to do with it.
What did those dolls represent for you as a child? Was it like, because for me, dolls was like, didn't make me feel like I was alone. They were my imaginary friends, and I just lived in a whole world.
I mean, you're asking a really interesting question that in some ways
I could spend hours.
I have some answers for, and in some ways I don't have answers for. And it keeps evolving. What I think is that part of it, one, yes, is a reconnecting with childhood, with a sense of play. I really think it's important that we don't lose a sense of our, not being childish.
Never to lose our child.
Childlike. And honoring our little person.
You want to hold on to that as long as you can.
But being able to play and not take things too seriously, but
riding with the vulnerability.
But personally, I also think there was one with certain dolls that are more like art pieces or a photograph that captures a moment of emotion. I think they gave me permission to acknowledge an emotion that I didn't always feel I had permission to have or express.
Wow.
And that in some ways, yes, they also filled the space so that I didn't feel alone. And they're just a reflection.
Kept you safe. I thought that my dolls kept me
comfort.
Safe.
There is comfort. But in the same way, I also have a collection of things that are oversized, that are normally small, and things that are small, that are normal, and vice versa. Things that are big, small, because there's something about the absurdity that just brings me joy, straight up joy. And I think we need that too. I mean, I always carry a toy or a little thing in my purse.
Did you bring something with you on this trip?
I do. In my purse that I carry around every day, yes.
In your purse?
In my purse. Sometimes it's called Purse Monkey. And it started with a little orange, actual like stuffed thing.
Yeah.
That I even had the
And what is that?
I even had the Dalai Lama bless for me.
Wow. I love him.
Big moment.
Now, what does that make you feel protection or?
So, I mean, this is like when I open my bag and if I see it sticking out, it just makes me laugh. Like it really just makes me laugh. And I remembered not to take anything too seriously. Like
just
literally,
a reminder.
like I open up my carry-on and there's like 3 different little things and it's silly and I just go, yeah.
But it's a reminder for you.
It's
and
just,
that's all that's
it just makes me feel good.
That matters.
Yes.
Right? My God. Demi, I mean, if you could ever be a mentor, because you are very insightful. I've gotten to know you I've had the pleasure and honor of knowing you for many decades, and you always learn something when you sit with you and talk to you. And you always come away thinking with more of an open mind about something you want to be clear about. Do you ever feel that you could be a mentor to so many? And I know you did the book, and if you could be a mentor, what would be the great advice that you would give? Because you give so much good advice. That's a hard one.
Well, I mean, that's a big question, but I feel like in the last 2 years, I have put time into studying a curriculum on spiritual psychology. And it's really, really expanded and opened my perspective and really reinforced something. One, I think that we are all here for one very big thing, which is
here to learn,
to love ourselves,
trying to get it right.
And so I think, boy, it's such a is there one thing?
Well, you said a lot about not taking yourself seriously, which I 100% agree with you with.
I think one of the things that if I could be of service to helping people, it would be to remove the judgments, the misperceptions, misunderstandings that they hold against themselves, because those are barriers of separation. And the more that we can strip that away and find love, acceptance, and forgiveness for
Love,
ourselves,
acceptance, and forgiveness.
for ourselves and for others, it opens us to liberation, real liberation. And it's so much.
We need that right now more than ever.
100%.
Really.
I mean, the gift in being able to look at events, say like the one that you were talking about in my book, that where I was raped, and being able to look at what I made up about myself, that I carried shame, embarrassment, a judgment that I wasn't good enough, that it was my fault, and I carried so much judgment that it sent me on this path that I needed to prove that it was okay that I was here. But it was really a misunderstanding. What he did had nothing to do with me. And so if I could support and be of service in that way.
People need to hear that, because really they need to hear that, because they can take it the wrong way and hurt themselves, think that it was them.
And I think the simplest thing, if I were to pass on one message, is that I truly believe that everything is happening for us, not to us. And when you can shift over to looking at that, your whole perspective changes, and you can start to say, well, what is this trying to give me? I went through an extremely difficult time.
What age do you feel when that kind of came into your mind, your life set, you're living it? When do you feel like that kicked in, that this is the way?
I mean, I think I had an understanding, but I also realized that understanding doesn't mean change. It just means you understand.
You understand.
And I think that it was a part of my knowing, but the judgment I had got in the way of me being able to not take things personally, to not take what other things that were happening, or even worse, that need of seeking external approval. I think that
it's difficult, because let's get there. You are and what I'm still and will always be Demi Moore. So it's like you was at the time the highest paid actress of all of Hollywood. Did you know that? Now you do. So
it was a precedent.
I'll
say it now without
women got their pay rise in Hollywood because of this legend right here. How did that feel? Did you have to fight for that? How did that all come about?
I didn't fight for it at that time. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm fighting for that. I just had a very reasonable, practical, and pragmatic point of view, which is, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm at, and with my people, we ask for it, and it happened. What was interesting is the intensity of the negativity that came, because
negativity coming from whom?
I think it was very hard to let
a male
to let a woman win. It was like
it's from the male.
I mean, I don't want to isolate and say it.
We don't want to say what was that.
I don't know.
I'm going to say the male Hollywood egos. We got to go say something.
I think there was a collective that, I mean, I took a lot of heat for it, but I'm okay with that, because if it made a change for everybody, like for me, it was great, but I didn't.
Being the first.
It wasn't like
I'm setting a precedent. You're going to take heat.
Yes, and that's part of it. Any of us that do, you're gonna, it comes with it.
But
it comes with the territory.
That's okay.
But in this case,
you're still standing.
Knowing that it made a difference, knowing that it made people take a different look at women's value. But look how long it's taken for it to actually change. Like it's taken. I mean, that was 96, and we only had the last couple of years where that really.
It's really true. It's not that long ago.
No, it took. Think about how long that was. That was 20 years.
Your favorite co-star?
Oh.
You had some greats. I mean, I got another question I'm going to throw at you quickly. Whoopi had said that when she was on that Patrick Swayze, if it wasn't for Patrick Swayze, she wouldn't have gotten into Ghost.
Really?
Yeah, They were trying not to let her audition.
Which is, of all things, I was actually here when that was all going on. My first time in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I had come over here and decided to chop my hair off, which I didn't tell them.
You just chopped it.
So
you had the role already?
I had gotten the role already.
I mean, but you had it with long hair.
So I auditioned, not with it this long, but I auditioned with long hair. And then...
Are we hearing this for the first time? Is this
I don't know. Did I write
I've never heard this before. This could be one for No Filter special.
No.
Hearing it first.
I met the first time because I didn't have to audition.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Why? They wanted. Well, that happens. They know they want you. They want you.
So,
you were Demi Moore. So excuse me.
No, but I'd only done at that time. I had done St. Elmo's Fire. I had done About Last Night.
I know you don't like those movies being called Brat Pack movies.
But in that, I hadn't done that much. So because I know both Patrick and they made Whoopi audition, which is kind of silly. But I had a meeting, and then we met a second time in New York, and I think I cut it maybe like up to my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I had been carrying around, and this I did write about in my book, I had been carrying around this picture of Isabella Rossellini that I had cut out from one of those People magazines of this boy haircut.
I remember that.
And I was here overwhelmed, never had been, I'd been to Mexico. I'd never been to Europe. And so it was such a huge deal. I just went out of the flat we were staying in, Rumor was a baby, and walked to some place. They didn't speak English. I didn't speak French. And I was handing them this little picture saying, can you do this? Literally like, not a hip
wait
place,
a minute,
not
hold on.
Not a fancy place.
So it's not like you went to a hairdresser that
Was
you
like,
knew from the set, so you get to know your hair.
or even like a really well-known person.
You just went out of your apartment in Paris
by myself
and went up the street and got your hair cut.
Literally like showing them the picture.
So brave. That's very brave.
I think I was scared shitless but
that's a liberating thing
it was.
do.
I think I just needed to do it. Like sometimes you just know, there's something that I needed to do.
And how old was Rumor?
She was, maybe 8 months old, 9 months old, roughly, because she turned a year on the movie. Which,
I mean, you've got 3 amazing daughters. I mean, is there something that after you have each child that you want to change something about you, whether there's a hairdo? Because you hear about that.
Sometimes I think you do need to just, you do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not even that you think about it. It just happens.
It just happens. Yeah, but that was another big deal about your haircut. That was worldwide newsflash breaking news also. Demi Moore went and cut her hair. It was on the news. It was almost like Demi Moore should have asked us all, the world, if she was allowed to cut her hair. So, but then the world decided we liked it.
Well, I don't have the luxury of changing mine every day.
We liked it. And then came the Vanity Fair cover, and then came
shaving my head.
Did you do a milk ad? You did a milk.
No,
you never did a milk.
I don't think I did.
No, I thought you did a milk.
I did
Annie.
a Gap. I did a Gap with Annie that you were in also.
I did a milk.
But did you not do Gap with her also?
I did a Gap with Stephen Meisel.
Oh.
But I did a milk with Annie, and I thought you did a milk. I don't know why.
I didn't do a milk.
May I ask you this?
Yeah.
Was there a movie that you thought you shouldn't have done?
Yes.
Which one?
The Butcher's Wife.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I loved the idea of the script.
Yeah. And Tennessee was in The Butcher's Wife.
Jeff Daniels, a great cast. Frances McDormand, Mary Steenburgen. I can't think about who else. No, it was an incredible cast. I think that I had done Ghost, and so there was this projection of who I was.
Yes.
And I had some doubt.
Do you think pottery went up after
probably?
you?
And
Sorry.
Glenda Bailey wrote me today saying,
must have gone up.
Glenda Bailey wrote me today, she said, pottery's coming back. I really think you need to like do the, but it's the only one I was kind of nudged, pushed to do it.
Doesn't
for
work.
money.
No.
And it's the only time I've ever done that. I would never blame anyone because I made
the ultimate
I made the decision, and
like in your gut, you didn't feel that one.
And I think it shows. I think I was really insecure, and I didn't know how to ask for help. And so it's when the first Vanity Fair, when I was pregnant, came out, and the article was really horrible.
I don't remember the article.
I know.
The pictures superseded the article.
I know.
Because the whole world.
But it came out that I was a diva, and that I had this huge entourage, and all of these things that actually weren't.
That's not true. That's not you.
No, and it wasn't actually at all accurate. But I had to step back and go, "Oh wow, what's happening
kind of
that this is coming
like
across?"
Sensationalism.
They did,
Mm.
but it's good. The pictures.
The pictures, by far, I think, for the world, superseded that. But still, I understand, and I think now you're telling me that I do remember, and but once you know it's not true.
But
You know what I mean?
by the same token, as I said before, when you can start looking at things and say, "This was happening for me," and so what was it that I needed to get from it?
So you took a break.
With my kids after Bruce, when Bruce and I were separating and divorcing.
And so is that when you decided to discover Idaho? And
We were already living there. The
Yeah.
girls, that was already our primary residence. I just decided that they needed to be
Right.
the focus and grounded in one place. And trying to work, and it just, I don't know. I know other people have gone through that and have continued to work for some reason.
you need your time out.
I needed to like pause.
So what did you do there? It's like,
I worked in a third grade class. I went on field trips. I got up and
made lunches.
did all the morning. I did all that. I did all of that.
When you came back to Charlie's Angels.
Yes.
And it was empowering to be with women, as you say.
Yeah.
Fashion, I got to know you a lot in '97, Gianni Versace. And I think fashion fell in love with you, instantaneously. Demi Moore, it's like someone got their outfit on you. More likely they were going to get their prices of sales were going up. How did you feel? I remember your body has always been amazing. You've always been.
It's changed. It's gone up and down, and it's been a variety of things, actually.
97, your body was.
I was small. Yeah.
You were on point. And I don't know then if you had done G.I. Jane.
It was post G.I. Jane because that's what I was promoting.
Right.
That's
So
why
the body was slamming. That's what I remember. And whether you're pregnant, I feel like different parts of life, whether you chose your pregnancy on Vanity Fair or you just did G.I. Jane, which you really like to work out and train for, and then whether it was a decent proposal where you were still in the kind of Navy.
I did. I did A Few Good Men and then A Decent Proposal. Yeah.
So A Few Good Men too. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into Charlie's Angels, I feel like we've gotten to see you and be with you throughout all your different body types.
And I have changed it over a few
But
times.
I feel like it's all your body has just always been, the aesthetic has been just slamming, amazing at all times. And I remember Johnny baking you all those Versace couture dresses.
Yeah. What an amazing, another one that I only had a chance to meet once.
But you met him.
I did.
You met him.
His last show.
Last show ever, 1997 July.
And I sat next to him at dinner, and
I remember you two get along. You spoke a lot.
it was really
You spoke a lot.
amazing.
He was a brilliant man. And then now you are back again, full circle, here in Paris, fashion. Here we are. after being here in 1997, the very first time.
I know, 2021.
My God.
I mean, it's been like this. Well, first of all, I love fashion.
You do, that be your always.
I don't love it and live it to the
You-
extraordinary way that you do,
Yeah.
but I really do appreciate and enjoy it, and all of the good parts of the artistry of it is incredible.
Well, you looked amazing at the Met Ball. You were at Saint Laurent, Anthony Vaccarello.
I did, yes. But it's just, there's a part of it that's really magical, and I don't know, for whatever reason, there's a part of it that really makes me feel like a little kid. Because
Well, I would say like
I don't know why.
The whole fantasy, the whole fantasy part, like yesterday for me that's one of the reasons, you know what I mean? Like that was for me a fantasy.
It's just, I mean, you have really lived in it. It's your world, and being somebody who's been on the outside, but who has actually been up close more than some. But it was really an honor yesterday. It really was.
You still do yoga every day?
No, I need to.
It's hard, but I heard your yoga classes. Derek Blaswell told me he took a yoga class.
I did.
And that
He was
it
huffing and
was
puffing.
the hardest yoga. I was like, what yoga was that?
Kundalini.
Oh, I don't know Kundalini. I've only done Ashtanga.
So yeah, no filter is I need to get my ass out and exercise because I haven't in so long. You know, I can tell you the last time I actually officially exercised. I did a silly, high-speed video of me doing a mirror. You know that mirror where you can do an exercise?
Yeah. I've seen that on Instagram.
Yeah, that's it. That's my only exercise.
That was it?
Yes!
Okay, Demi, we need to exercise. Because we know that exercising is good for our mind, body, and spirit. So, now you're back in LA. How are things there?
Okay. I'm going back and forth. I've actually been in Idaho almost all of quarantine.
How was it coming to Paris from LA for you?
Well, they're being extremely strict to get in here. I appreciate,
The plane, how was it on the plane?
The plane,
clean?
I totally
Clean?
safe. There were only 50 people total on the entire air.
Seats clean?
Beautiful.
All right.
On Air France. It was spectacular, actually. In fact, it was my daughter's Scout, and the only other person in the cabin we were in was Cara Delevingne, and it was literally like a slumber party.
Right.
We were in sleeper suits, passing snacks. We were all COVID safe.
Yeah.
And it was actually really fun.
Nice. So your daughters, your beautiful angels. Tell me about them. Ruma is an incredible dancer as well as an actress. And we all got one thing we did in common. We did Empire. All of us at one point.
That's true.
Lee Daniels' Empire on Fox. We did that.
Mm-hmm.
We've never traded Empire stories, but we will one day.
We will. Off camera.
Off camera.
Off camera.
You must be proud.
I am. The thing is, of course, I love and adore my children, but I really like them.
Mm.
I like them as people. I like who they are. I learned from each of them in different ways. This trip has been really special because it's just Scout and I one-on-one, and being able to have this time, and being able to do things, carve out time with each of them, and getting to know them because I have adult children.
Yes.
Which I don't really have role modeling for. I don't know what it is to be an adult and have a mother.
Right.
My mother was 54 when she died, and I hadn't seen her in 8 years when I went and took care of her. And so all of my adult life, I really haven't had that. So I feel like I'm sharing a path with them that's new for me as well for them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And I'm excited for them to share who they are.
But I feel they all have their own individual persona.
100%.
Nothing to do with you and
No,
nothing
no.
to do with Bruce.
No, they are who they
When
are.
you go out and you see your girls, and I've seen them at many things in LA and over the years, you know, they're all warm in their different way. They all, you know, they stand on their own 2 feet, which is really wonderful to see, isn't it?
And I think that like people comment often on how lovely and kind and gracious they are. And I feel like that, I can say that feels good.
I asked Remo something once, and she's like, and even though we both could discuss it, she still was like, no, she was kept it real. Yeah. If you could give some advice to your younger self, what would it be?
That you're not a mistake. That
Speak.
Yeah, that you're not a mistake, and that there is a reason you're here, and that I don't have to apologize for being born. That's like
That's deep, Demi.
I spent a long time trying to answer that question, and a lot of wasted time seeking outside to fill that. That it's okay just to be, that who we are as individuals that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Is
That's really deep. And I'm so grateful that I know you've got such short time here. Thank you so much for coming on No Filter, my little online show, and being there with me. Thank you so much. I love you so much. You're such awesome. So proud of
Thank you.
just knowing you and being in my life.
Thank you for
Always
having me on.
honest. Thank you. I mean, we are
warriors.
We are warriors.
We
man.
are
We
goddess-
are survivors.
We are goddess warriors.
What a true inspiration this incredible lady is. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like my video and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And on this day from No Filter on Paris, because No Filter's on the road now, I'm going to say, brown girls out.